Hello, my dear children. I hope you all are fit and fine and healthy at home. Yes, I'm sure you all are. Well, children, are you all surprised to hear me in this way? Well, don't be. As you all know, my dear children, our world is going through a very difficult situation nowadays due to the deadly and dangerous coronavirus. And for that, we all are locked in our house. We cannot go to school, and you also cannot come to school and attend school. But as you all know that studies should go on whatever the situation may be. So I am your Poulami ma'am is here to guide you and teach you about computers. So today I shall be starting with chapter 1, which is computer, a working device. And so without further delay, let's get started with the chapter. Let's get started with the chapter. In the beginning, let us know what is a computer. I think you all know what is a computer. If I ask you, you all would answer that it is a machine, isn't it? Yes, children. It is an electronic device. That means it is a machine that works with the help of electricity. Okay? And the second point that you should know about computer is that it makes our work very easy. Why? Because without any hesitation, we can do different type of work with the help of computer. Next point, a computer can work continuously. That means what? A computer does not become bored or tired. Why? The only reason behind it is because it is a machine. It never gets tired and it never gets bored. We can do a lot of work continuously with the help of a computer. You know, children, computer in the CPU has a processor. Okay? And a processor helps the computer to do all this work very easily. And it is a very important part of the CPU. The next point you should understand is it works fast and does calculation in seconds. This is the reason I have discussed just now that it does all these things very fast and in fraction of seconds because of the processor inside the CPU, or more specifically we can say which is in the motherboard of the CPU. You will learn about all these things later in the class when we will do other chapters. But for now, you must know that computer can work very fast because of the fast processor. Okay. Next point what we should know about computer is it never makes a mistake. Yes. Why? Because of its high-ended features, a computer never makes any mistake in calculations. Okay. Next point, and one very important point, is a computer can do many kinds of work at the same time. You know, children, what is this called? This feature of computer is called multitasking. What it is called? It is called multitasking. Multi means many and tasks means a lot of work. The work. So computer can do a lot of work at the same time. Like for example, you can draw in a computer while listening to music. Okay, or you can play games in the computer while at the background you can have some lovely music. You can do some project work while listening to music. So there are various other works also which we can do together at the same time. Okay, and this is a very important feature of the computer. So now you know about six important major features of computer. And that is why computer is such an important device for all of us nowadays. It is impossible, almost impossible for all of us to stay without a computer. Now children, let us know about a very important feature of computer, which is the IPO cycle. The full form of IPO cycle is input, process, output cycle. I shall repeat for you. It is the input, process, output cycle. Actually, input, process, output cycle is the cycle which represents the entire working of the computer and especially the working of the CPU, which is the central processing unit, the brain of the computer. The CPU is composed of two main parts. They are ALU, the arithmetic and logic unit, and CU, the control unit. We have one more important part in the CPU, which is the memory unit, which is used to store the processed information in the CPU. Arithmetic and logic unit is used to perform arithmetic and logical operations. The control unit interacts with the input-output devices and memory devices and assigns them required instruction for processing a certain action. This entire cycle is known as the IPO cycle. Now, let us understand the meaning of input, process, and output cycle with daily examples. Have you seen this picture, children? Yes, this is the picture of delicious jam. So, for making jam, what would you do? See the process. Inputs, that means the things that you would need to make the jam, which are fruit, sugar, and obviously who would make the labor to make the jam. Next is processing. That means the process to make the jam, which are boiling and stirring. Last is the output, which is the result. That is the jam, the delicious jam. The result of all these things is the jam that you would get after input and processing. This is a very easy example from which you could know and understand the IPO cycle. Here is another example of the IPO cycle which we use daily. The process of making rice. See, in the input section, we have the picture of putting the rice into the cooker and selecting the cooking program, which leads to the processing part, which is cooking rice according to the programmed steps. And the last part is the output, which is the cooked rice. So you see, this three input, process and output total process cycle gave our cooked rice, the output which is the cooked rice. Children, don't you love delicious juices in the hot summer days? Yes, let us take this example to understand the input, process, output cycle. Over here, what is the input? As you can see, The input is the apple. The process portion involves the mixing of the apple in the mixer grinder, which will give the result as the delicious juice as the output. Do you all love cakes? I think you all do, isn't it? Your lovely birthday cakes. So how they are made? Let us see this example with the help of input process output cycle. See, the input involves the ingredients which are needed to make the delicious cake. Now, after we have the input, we need to have the processing part, which involves the baking portion and mixing of all the ingredients, which will result in the output, which is the lovely cake. So you see, here also we have involved the IPO cycle. Here is yet another example of input process output cycle. In this example, we can see how coffee is made. In the input section, we have the coffee powder, which is the input to make the coffee. And in the processing section, we have the person who is making the coffee. And what is the output? The output is the delicious coffee. So here also we have the input, processing and output cycle involved. The next example of our IPO cycle is the fresh bread. Let us see how fresh bread is available. Let us involve the IPO cycle in this. In the input section, we have the raw materials, that is the flour, yeast and water, which is needed to make the bread. The labor, which is also required to make the bread, and the money, which is very important for making the bread. In the processing portion, we have the process to make the bread, which involves a series of steps. And last but not the least is the output, which is the fresh bread, the finished product, loaves of bread, which is distributed to the consumers. The last example which I shall discuss in this context is making a tasty sandwich. Let us involve the IPO cycle in this now. See children, the input section will include the sliced bread, and the other ingredients that you will love to have in the sandwich, and the equipment which is used to make the sandwich, and the person who will make the sandwich. The processing portion will include the process to make the sandwich. And last, the output portion is your delicious sandwich. See, so easily we have involved the IPO cycle in making a bread. So, through all these examples which we use in our daily lives, I have explained the IPO cycle. I hope you have understood all of these. Now, after we have understood the IPO cycle with the help of various daily examples, let us see how the IPO cycle is used in the computer. A computer also works in these three simple steps. The input, which involves the keyboard, the processing, which involves the CPU, and output, which involves the monitor. So, input, processing, output is done with the help of keyboard, CPU and the monitor respectively in the computer system. Let us understand how the IPO cycle is followed in the computer. See children, as you have understood by now that a computer is a machine made up of parts that helps you enter data as input, process it in the CPU and stores it in the memory. At last, it gives us the output, the result. Okay? Now see the basic concepts of input, process and output in the following diagram. For a computer, the input process output cycle usually involves operations and hardware. Hardware which we shall learn later in this chapter. Now see what is input, process, output involved in the computer. In the input section, we have to enter data and commands into a computer via one or more input devices like the keyboard. The processing involves the CPU which works on the data according to the commands provided in the input stage. And lastly, the output is the result which is shown on the screen of the monitor. After understanding about the IPO cycle with the help of various daily examples and also how it is done in the computer, let us now know about the various input, process and output devices. Today, I shall be discussing about the input devices. Children, let us know about a very important input device which is the mouse. The computer mouse is considered as an input device. It is used to give commands to the computer with the click of a button. Moving a mouse along a flat surface can move the cursor to different items of the screen. Items can be moved or selected by pressing the mouse button, which is called clicking. A mouse nowadays has two buttons, the left button and the right button, and in between the two there is the scroll wheel. Today, many computers use wireless technology and has no wire. There are many types of mouse available nowadays. They are optical mouse, wireless mouse, mechanical mouse and a trackball mouse. This is the picture of a computer keyboard. A computer keyboard is an input device. It is the set of typewriter-like keys that enables you to enter data into a computer. Computer keyboards are similar to electric typewriter keyboards but contain many additional keys, as you can see in this picture. The different keys are the alphabet keys, the number keys, the function keys, the punctuation keys, the special keys, the arrow keys, etc. Now let us know which key helps us in what way. Alphabet keys are from A to Z and they helps us to type any sentences, words or letters. The number keys are from 0 to 9 and it helps us to type numbers. The function keys are from F1 to F12. They are allotted with different set of functions. The punctuation keys are having different types of punctuation marks on them, like comma, colon, question mark, brackets, full stop, etc. The special keys are shift keys, control keys, alt keys, del keys, page up, page down, etc. The arrow keys or the navigation keys helps us to navigate through the page. The next input device is the scanner. See children, you can see the picture of a scanner over here. A scanner is a device that captures images from photographic prints, posters, magazine pages, and similar sources for computer editing and display. It is a very important input device. See, this is the picture of a joystick. A joystick is an input device commonly used to control video games. Joysticks consist of a base and a stick that can be moved in any direction. The last input device that I shall discuss today is the microphone. A microphone is also an input device that allows you to record sound into the computer. Dear children, I think by now you have got an idea about what is a computer, what are the features of a computer, what is the IPO cycle, the different examples of IPO cycle with daily examples, the IPO cycle of the computer, the input devices. I think you have liked the video and understood it. So what next? What is your task next? You should now solve the worksheet which will be shared to you shortly. So till then, stay fit, stay healthy, stay at home, study hard and don't disturb your parents and wait for my upcoming video. So bye for now.